The Bill Clark Show, presented by Dr. Pepper. And now, Coach Bill Clark.
Welcome in. It's the first edition of the 2026 Bill Clark Show, presented by Buffalo Rock, Dr. Pepper. Coach Bill Clark, I'm Pat. That's Landrum. That's Molly. Welcome into the program, Coach. Happy college football playoff. We're down to the Final Four.
Yeah, Happy New Year to everybody and happy playoff.
Happy playoff. All your teams win so far?
Yeah. I'm for all winners.
Never for a loser.
We did say Indiana, which I don't really pick. I've kind of picked Alabama mostly, but we did pick Indiana, if y'all remember. So
we did.
I didn't say blowout, though. I didn't call that shot.
I'm just thankful with the turn of the new year and getting into 2026, all of the excess and the shenanigans that have become college football and intercollegiate athletics have gone away. And now we're back to pure sport.
Absolutely.
Totally pure.
Yes. There's nothing, no gray area.
No.
Where would you like to start there? We're going to let you tell us where you would like to start. What is your biggest pet peeve right now as you look across the landscape of college football? What irritates you the most?
We've only talked about this on this show.
Clean.
I'm going to keep it clean. I'm trying not to curse. But
get a little dirty.
The 3 years of lack of that we knew this was coming. We saw it coming. We talked about it coming. You had a room full of about 100 coaches. We should have had 130, but we had 100 coaches. Multiple years saying if we allow immediate eligibility, nobody had a problem with players getting paid. But to see us at this point we're at now is sickening. I mean, it just makes me sick. Now, once again, you don't bring any answers, but I think, is this going to have to be destroyed for it to be fixed is my worry. Because leadership, that was the quote yesterday, you rise and, organizations rise and fall with leadership, and we don't have any right now over college football, and we're heading into a bad spot.
Because at some point, and you don't have a Cody Campbell like you do at Texas Tech with every athletic department and a booster who's willing to give however many millions of dollars a year. At some point, and you're even seeing it from multimillionaire boosters who've gone on the record from other schools that say, I gave once or I gave twice. You know what? Nope, this is not for me. I'm not doing it anymore. It sickens me. There's no loyalty anymore. That starts happening universally across college football. What are you going to do? Coach, I'm convinced it is going to have to be broke before it gets fixed.
I think that's where we are. I think we'll start seeing that happen as we start seeing people pull out and pull back. It just, once again, we saw it coming. We talked about it. What can you do that has no rules? What do you do where there's really there's no repercussions for not doing things with just some kind of sanity? Contracts are being broken. What does it even mean? We can't keep up with the players. Who's going where? And it's, once again, nobody has a problem with people getting paid. We're fine with that. Just create some rules, create some standards. Somebody's got to govern any organization, and we have a model of an NFL at the purely professional level, and we have it's just so sad of the game we love so much.
But and quickly, Pat, though, but it's the double standard. It's now we're talking about granting a Trinidad Chambliss an extra year of eligibility. The kid's good for college football. I don't have a problem. If Trinidad Chambliss wants to play another year, let him play another year at this point. What does it really matter? But we're worried about that. But we have blatant tampering going on.
Yeah.
We have text messages that you could turn in and have a pile of evidence against all kinds of coaches and schools. But let's not worry about that.
Well, that was my biggest worry. I said that from the jump. We've got ultra competition. And once ultra competition of I'm going to fire you if you don't win, well, how do you blame a coach? Almost. When you say, we're going to fire you if you don't win, well, of course they're going to tamper. Of course they're going to reach out. Of course they're going to call. They're going to get somebody to call. No wonder brains are screwed up. And we just, all we got to do is look at the NFL, who's got such hard lines against tampering and breaking contracts. And, try it, and you're going to lose draft choices. There's got to be rules. And does it take this destruction of our game for that to happen? Of course, we don't want that. This is not like we're wanting something bad to happen. It's just, what's next?
I'm going to play off something Landrum just brought up, and I'm going to get your opinion. I'm very liberal when it comes to the belief now this is the NFL model outside of the collective bargaining. This is what this is.
Sure.
Fans need to understand that this is NFL light because Ole Miss potentially could play for a national championship, and they did not play for their conference championship.
Yeah.
They've never been to their conference championship. Right. So it's just like being a wild card in the NFL. You don't have to win your division, but get into the tournament and you have a chance to win. My feeling is if players want to play for 10 years, because this is what this is entertainment. This is not about, and I know this goes against the tenets of when you coach. This is not about someone going to get their degree anymore. This is about entertaining the television audience. This is what this has become. So at that juncture, why not let a kid play 7 years? If somebody's willing to pay and you think he's good enough at that level to continue to contribute, do you have a problem with that? Or do you think there needs to be some type of, at least a standard of playing 5 years and then you're out?
Well, if we take the academic piece, and that's not as big a deal.
Okay.
And that's what I kept saying. Is it a big deal or is it not? If it is a big deal, then we're going to act like it's a big deal. If it's really not a big deal, but you're paying lip service to us, that irritates me. So I think we're trending toward it's not as big a deal because it's about paying these guys. My point on any of those things, whatever it is, let's create a standard. Let's stick to the standard. But the tampering, I have less problem with a guy playing multiple years than I do the fact that there's tampering going on nonstop. Everything that we would like, even on an NFL team that says, I got you for a year. I got you for a year. At the end of the year, we'll look at things. Now, do they speak to each other after games and shake hands? Yeah, there's some of that going on, obviously. But if they catch you tampering, there's a problem. We created all the tampering, which creates all the craziness. And then what is the rule? How many times can you move? When is it bad for the game? I don't know. I mean, just let's create some standards. Let's stick with the standards, whether it's age, whether it's years. Let's create some standards and let's try to stick to standards.
I'm not naive. I realize that there are some football players that go and they want to get an education and they want to earn a degree and do something other than football once they leave that campus. But let's be real here with the amount of money that's being paid. Money's the driving factor. It's not getting that diploma, that degree. How are some, and not specific any programs, Coach, but how is that viewed now with the academics piece when you're trying to fit that all into whether you're going to give a guy $1.5 million or $2 million to come and play football next season?
Yeah, I think you're seeing it's moving down. But what we're seeing, let's just say, all right, let's compare it to what has happened with the schools outside the SEC where people said, oh, I can give money into this program, Indiana, whoever that is, and I can see a return on that investment with how good my team can play. I think it's just the fact that there's some people holding a standard, there's some people not. There's some people trying to take players off people's rosters throughout the year. There's some people not. Once again, just give me some rules. Let's stick by the rules. These are the rules. We've just gone so far. And with the NFL sitting as the professional model, we're so far past that where we don't have rules. We don't have a model. I think we just got to get our hands around it to create. I just wonder when is it that we're going to run out of money?
Well, and it's interesting because we brought it up on our show today that there is a booster, one of the top boosters at the University of Colorado, and we saw the last 2 years, Colorado has put forth a lot of money to a roster that 1 year out of the 3, they made a bowl game.
Yeah.
The other 2 has been horrible seasons. And he's basically saying there is no loyalty. Yeah. Like, I'm tired of writing checks, and it's not the reciprocal loyalty to the player that I'm writing a check to because these guys are like one and done, and they're looking for the next big deal. So in regards to that, this is not a sustainable model. Like, how many years do you give this till we do hit rock bottom?
You know what just made me think of? So the NFL, who gives it's kind of like the United States. Who gives the power to the government, the people? Mm-hmm. Who gives the power to the commissioners, the owners? We should give the power to the commissioner to say, and let's pay him. Why is Goodell making what he makes? Because it's a big-ass job.
Yeah.
It's a tough job. Yep. We need to pay somebody a lot of money. Mm-hmm. I know we've said Saban, whoever, and give him the authority because we know where we are now. We're paying the players. We're less of an academic model. Let's go. But everybody needs to get on board and say, we need somebody to oversee this, and we're going to listen to it. Because if we don't, something's going to happen. But I think that goes back. I mean, that's America. Let's give this power, because if not, if y'all not smart enough to see, you as these guys that are out there in these leadership positions, that we're in trouble, something's wrong.
Well, and on that point, you've got an issue because the CSC that sent out paperwork for all the schools to sign to agree to the enforcement process moving forward. And you've got the likes of Texas Tech and Baylor and a lot of Texas schools, they're not willing to sign it yet.
Yeah.
And that's becoming a problem. So if you can't get anybody on board, first off, it's bad enough we can't even agree on a 12 or a 16 team playoff and how you put teams in a playoff. Now you got schools saying that, hold on a second, we don't know if we want to sign this enforcement regulation instead of the old NCAA. How in the world are you ever going to get to that point when you can agree on one person to be that czar of college football?
My question, could we, if the big conferences could get together, and now is that guy out there? I don't know. Are you willing to give this, use an NFL model to create a commissioner who they don't feel is biased? Oh, you're a Southern guy, you're a Big Ten. I don't know. I don't know if that's possible. The only way I see it is some leadership, and we have none now. And, there's a reason we elect a president. There's a reason we have a commissioner. And let's look at our sports, our NFL baseball bat. They all have a commissioner.
Well, and not that the Mountain West commissioner should have an equal voice to Greg Sankey when it comes to the future of college football. He should have a voice, but maybe not an equal voice. So going back to what you said and the way that our government's set up here in this country, what if we did something where you take all the commissioners, you say, hey, we're going to vote on whoever's going to oversee this, but you do it electorally, setting it up electorally, where Mountain West, you get 3 electorals. Sun Belt, you get this many. SEC, you're going to get this many. I don't know. It seems like talking about these things more productive than what we're getting right now, which is spinning our wheels.
Once again, we got to have some leadership. We don't have leadership. And almost have we're doomed to fail. We're doomed to fail. So, and I just want to talk about ball. I want to talk about coaches and X's and O's, and because we are getting some quality games. There's no doubt at the elite level we're getting quality games. But how sustainable is this moving forward? And that's what we're all worried about.
One thing you don't have to worry about is your banking. And if you go to Smart Bank, you don't have to deal with all that craziness that we're talking about dealing with college football.
Well, of course, I'm a board member and believe in what's going on at Smart Bank, but just as somebody who has borrowed money and seen the process of people that are responsive and receptive, and I hear it from other customers that, you're going to get good treatment at Smart Bank. They get all the things that all the biggest banks have, but I think you're going to get great treatment. And I think that's one of the things we talk about on our show is quality people, and that's what our friends at Smart Bank are.
Why would you not want your bank to be smart?
Exactly. Just go with the word.
Who wants a dumb bank?
That's right. We're going with a Smart Bank.
Coach, big news around the Alabama front. Ty Simpson, at least as of this moment, the paperwork's not official, but he's told the coaches at Alabama that he is going to forego his eligibility, going to try the NFL. When you look at Ty Simpson, how do you think he'll look at the next level?
Yeah, we discussed this the other day. I think he's got every opportunity to be a great pro player. He's played at the top level. He's had great coaching. I think I still have the question, what is the injury situation? Because we saw a drop off, and I think there's so many times, because having lived this world where a guy had a little something, he could play with it, but it was a nagging situation. But I think he's got all the tools. One, coach's son, he can move. He's got a big arm. Like I said, he's played at the highest level. He's shown he can do it. I'm excited to see him. Of course, for me, I'd always love to see him take another year to continue to develop, but. I think I've seen guys at a lot lesser programs that are doing a lot of things right now. And so I think he's got all the tools. Yeah,
Ty Simpson, and there was that stretch after the Florida State game where he was precision. Yeah. He was on point, and that was the best that we saw. Ty Simpson was not recruited by Kalen DeBoer and that staff, nor was Jalen Milroe. Now you got a guy like Keelan Russell who was, and specifically recruited to play in that offense. When you look at the skill set of a Ty Simpson, you look at conceptually what they try to do offensively at Alabama. How much could that have been a hindrance, and how much more could we see with a guy like Keelan Russell running that offense next season?
I think when you go pick a guy, that's your guy. You know who he is. So I think there is that process. Obviously, they thought Simpson was the better player. That's who they played with. I mean, you got a guy that's 6'5", whatever he is, who's got the body and got an arm and got all these things. I'm sure they feel like, hey, he's got all the tools that we want. I'm sure it was, hey, Ty, we love you. What you going to do? I'm going on. Okay. Wish you the best because we got a guy. And we feel good about him. So now, doesn't have the experience, but so does a lot of other guys that get started. But I think he's got all the tools. They know who he is, and I'm sure they were fine with it.
I think we should just appreciate Ty Simpson for the career that he led, and how he did it.
Absolutely,
because we're talking about all these other examples of the shenanigans, and not saying the guy shouldn't be paid, and you don't have the right to transfer. None of that. But it's just refreshing to see a guy actually do it in air quotes the normal way. Like we all grew up.
That's right.
Knowing college football.
That's right. This is my team. I want to take the next step. Here I go. And I'm taking the next step. And I don't think it's as much about, I think it's just he feels like he's ready. He's older. And he's got tools. He's played at the highest level. He's got a lot of intangibles, and you watch how the guy handles himself on the sidelines with his teammates, all the things we hear about his faith. I think none of that is anything but good.
When you look at this Alabama football team, especially 2 out of their last 3 games, they struggled. They struggled all year long trying to run the football. But when you look at the issues that Ty Simpson had health-wise, you kind of have to think, right, Coach, that he probably wouldn't have gotten beat up as bad as he did if Alabama would have been able to alleviate some of that pressure and have a running game.
We've had this conversation so many times, and I try to explain to people what complementary football looks like. The hardest piece of that is the piece, your other piece. It's when I am not really a run guy. There's so many guys that want to be, that love the pass game now, and it's easy. You're seeing vertical balls and completions and all that. The hard part is the run game. It's just like playing great defense. It's not easy. It's tough. It's hard. It requires a commitment to do it. And, the 3-yard runs, the 4-yard runs, that commitment, though, is what it's going to take. Now, if you can take a pass, you got to be able to throw the ball. And there's a lot of intricacies that in pass pro, but you got to be able to run the ball. And as I always say, you're going to need it when you need it. And, besides the toughness factor and all those other things and setting up play action, but if you don't make it who you are, like I've told the story so many times, and all I can go is on my example. My last one was 2019. We lose everybody because we'd had to get so many JUCO players, and we're not running the ball. We're not running the ball. And I said, it's fine. Monday we're in full pads. Tuesday we're in full pads. Wednesday we're in full pads. Now, I don't want to lose. Do I need to go in full pads Thursday to say that we're going to run the ball?
Yeah.
And then it's going to be, we're not going to punish the whole team. The O-line, the running backs are going to be in full pads, and you scout team guys are in full pads. Once again, now, who is running the ball? That helps, right?
Yeah.
But when you got the people, then it goes back to, perimeter runs over and over, are just straight inside zone. There's tons of schemes. There's tons of ways to get it done. And we're not dealing with guys that aren't smart coaches. So, but I'm going to put this much into it. We're going to run the ball, by God, And so that's what creates this balance. That's what creates that part of the offense that you need. And but you got to go at it with that kind of mindset.
By the way, you just talking about full pads every day of the week. It reminds me of a buddy. I won't say where he played. He played high school here in the state. It was a smaller classification school, but they had a terrible week of practice. They had a Friday night game. Lo and behold, on Friday, they get the message during whatever period, hey, we got practice. Oh, this is on Friday, game day. We got practice after school. They go and do a full practice, full pads, practice unis, and he's thinking, okay, well, now we're going to go to the game. We're going to change in our uniforms. Oh, no. You're wearing your practice gear. Got straight on the bus, went, and he said, we played our best game of the season.
Once again, what is that line of toughness of we're going to run the ball? That's my point.
Yeah.
We're not getting people injured. It's the mentality of, hey, Monday's a helmet day. You got to practice Sunday or Monday, right? Monday's a helmet day. You're only going out in full pads a couple times a week now of the way we've built this. And it was, we're going to run the ball. And if that's what it takes, we'll just do it every day. We're going to commit to running it. And the coaches knew. I mean, all the coaches still tell those stories of, you said we're going to run the ball, but you got to put your money where your mouth is. And I guess long story short, it's not lack of knowledge. It's not lack of people.
Commitment.
It's commitment. And so you got to build everything you do has got to be built around creating that balance, because that's what they're lacking. That's what they're lacking. Now, if you do that, guess what you're going to go get? You're going to get some big-time running backs too.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing is for sure, Webb Concrete and Building Services, those guys just do an incredible job.
They do. Phil Webb, that's his company, one of the best guys out there, very philanthropic. And obviously I got a son that works for him. But all the building supplies, not just concrete like they used to be, but all the building supplies, they've got 7 locations. Probably everybody in our area has got somebody close by with Webb Building, Concrete and Building Supplies.
Coach, the college football playoff gets underway tomorrow night as the first game in the Fiesta Bowl. The Ole Miss Rebels taking on the Miami Hurricanes. Miami impressed all of us what they were able to do, not only against Texas A&M on the road, but then go to Texas and shut down Ohio State. Just talk to us about what you see when you see this Mario Cristobal, very tough defensive-minded football team.
Yeah, and we've talked about defensive coaches and O-line coaches, and I think just you watch him on the sideline headbutting guys and toughness But I think what they did, they had to go find their defense. And I think they found their defense this year. I think he knows what it should look like. We've talked about those guys they got up front on defense. They're different. So they are gelling. They're hitting it at the right time. And you got the quarterback with experience. You got skill. You got a defense that's playing good. I mean, what's not to like? As a guy that played in a lot of playoff games through the years, if you got to win them. In football, you need to win all year, but you want to be hitting your stride come playoff time, and they are.
And you think about the mindset of that team, it was us against the world mentality.
Yeah.
With everything that had happened with Lane Kiffin and the drama there. But then you had to take on a Georgia team.
Yeah.
That, with the exception of last year in Oxford, Georgia's had your number, and it's Georgia. It's kind of the standard. If I'm Ole Miss, you're not going to play a more talented team than what you just saw.
That's right.
You're not going to play a better coach team.
Yeah.
Better coach team. Maybe equal to than what you just saw. Pete Golding and Ole Miss, man, I love the way they're playing. I love the energy I'm seeing.
Yep.
And for the sake of everything that's happened, it would not hurt my feelings to see Ole Miss win a championship, a statue of Pete Golding being erected outside of Vaught Hemingway, and Lane Kiffin nowhere to be seen.
Well, so many cool parts to that part of the story.
Yeah.
So we talked about Miami. Here they go. But, man, Ole Miss, a Georgia team that we all have nothing but respect for, how Kirby does it. They were playing good. They were coming into their own, we think. Did they play great against Georgia Tech? That was kind of a question mark I had. Feel like, okay, you really – and Georgia Tech's had a good year. But if you're really heading in the right direction, that may have shown a little chink in the armor. But, man, what a great second half. Give Ole Miss all the credit. It's amazing when you got something to play for.
Let me ask you a question. With your temperament as an individual and as a coach – if that situation would have taken place, I want to put you in the seat of Pete Golding.
Yeah.
Would you have been able to handle the chaos that was Lane Kiffin and 6 coaches being basically temporary coaches, and now 2 of those coaches aren't even going to be at the Fiesta Bowl?
Well, here's the good news. Pete Golding has never been a head coach. He gives, even though maybe he was not trying to get it, and having coached against him when he was young and when he was San Antonio, and seen him know him through other, Jack Woodfin, who was one of my guys, is a good friend of his. So think a lot of him, but he gets given a gift. So maybe a guy that's been doing it for years and had to go through that would have had a harder time versus a guy's like, hey, this is what it is. I know all these guys. I like them. Maybe I like some more than others, but I can go with the flow a little bit more than somebody else. I was on the staff. I was part of it. Yeah, just if I can have them. Now, this week is where the question's been, where I'm pulling some of them, I'm not pulling some of them. They're coaching for me. I think he's had a good attitude from what I've heard. Now, here's what we got to do, and we can't, totally feel sorry for these guys. They've got 100 coaches, at those elite levels. So my goal was always I got a number 1 and I got a number 2. Now, the number 1's number 1 for a reason, but they have multiple coaches. They have backups. He was trying to get ready for that as they went. But I think probably some of it is a testament to him, and some of it's probably a testament to the fact that he knew him, he was part of the staff, and he could just roll with it.
Ole Miss get it done?
Gosh, man, that's a great call. I'm picking Miami.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does Ole Miss cover?
And see, this was the things I would hear from somebody like on a Thursday before my game. I'm like, I don't even know what the line is.
Coach Clark, good luck. Y'all going to cover?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
3.5.
Cover what?
3.5.
The field?
And I hate to pick against Ole Miss.
What do
I
you think,
just feel
Coach?
like
Will they
Miami
cover?
is really rolling.
Yeah.
But
Good teams win, great teams cover.
okay, we'll go with that. If that
So you
means
didn't
they
give me an
cover,
answer?
I'd say
You
yes.
didn't give me an answer.
They cover. Yes,
Okay.
more than 3.5.
All right, Atlanta,
See,
Georgia.
now y'all have put me in this world.
Pat put you in the world.
All right,
Pat.
Peach Bowl.
Yep.
Indiana, we saw plenty of them against Alabama. Rematch against Oregon. We've talked to you for
Yeah.
years about how difficult it is to beat a team twice
Yeah.
in a year. Just take us into that mindset of Dan Lanning going up against a machine that is Indiana.
I would say, and I'm not on this that Indiana coach walks on water, Signetti. I think he's a really good coach. He doesn't have enough, there's not enough body of work.
Not enough data.
Once again, if this is who you are, this is the guy I've seen, I'm all for going into a team that doesn't even think they've got a chance to win and saying, no, we win. That's all we do. We win. I mean, you got to create an aura. You've got to create some confidence. But he is a really good coach. He has done a great job. They are a complete team. They are going to win the game, in my opinion.
Whoa.
And that's a repeat. So I'm giving you 2.
That is the most emphatic prediction we have ever gotten from Coach Bill
So
Clark.
say that one more time.
Indiana's going to win the game.
Okay.
There was no ifs, ands, or buts.
there's
or
no
if,
hesitation.
Now, this
or
is all coming
if
out
this
after the game.
happens, or this happens, straight up. Well, all right. So I will follow that up with, I would think that it was, 50 total points scored in the first game. Do you think they score less than that in this game collectively? I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah, I don't know.
Lower scoring game?
I think it will
Does
be.
Indiana win by more than a field goal?
Yes. Sure.
What color Powerade do they dump on Signetti? Blue.
How long will the national anthem be? Did you have
See,
any?
I gained nothing by these questions other than embarrassment. So I'm just going to do the whole show just for everybody.
No.
I went out for 2. So
Listen, Landry and I got
I'll
together.
probably 0 for 2 now.
And we said in 2026, we want to be even more ridiculous with Coach Clark.
You know, I think
Is
it's
that possible?
I was thinking about it the other day with some of this stuff going on with the tampering and it's probably a good thing Coach Clark got out of the business when he did, because somebody'd be toting a whooped, you know what?
Man.
Let's not even. That wakes me up in the middle of the night.
Lincoln would be
would I
like, who is this madman knocking on my door?
I'm more subtle though.
That's Bill Clark. Don't answer it.
I'm more. I wouldn't go to the press. I would just get them back.
Donahue Chevrolet, I saw you drive in on 2 wheels in the parking lot with your Tahoe.
Yep, it needs a car wash. This is just total honesty. I hadn't washed it this week. I'm sorry. We won't let that happen again.
That's all right. I'll get back on it next week, Coach. Sorry. I've been under the
You let
weather.
me down.
Well, still want to get out there and wash the car in the cold.
Right. Well,
But
next week. Next week.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I'll be better.
What does Pat do?
Pat. He's the buff and shine guy. I'm the elbow grease.
All right. I saw where Kirby Smart is on board with Coach Safely. He posted a video, a very nice video of how important Coach Safely is.
Yeah, and if he'd have won, it would have made it even better this week. But
Oh, so now you're throwing shade at Kirby Smart for Coach Safely because he
Of
didn't
course
win.
not. This is for the kids, Pat.
Oh, of course it is.
Thank
It's always
you.
for the kids.
Thank you.
Can we get Pete Golding to do one?
It's already been discussed.
Okay.
Not with
Nice.
Pete, but I have thought about that.
Nice.
As we move into Mississippi.
Okay.
Y'all get me to tell all my secrets.
Well, and you can get juice as a part later. Go ahead.
Yes, it was great of Coach Smart. Ron Corson, the assistant AD there, trainer for years, helped facilitate that. I appreciate him. Also, we got Coach Key at Georgia Tech's got one coming out.
Awesome.
If you hadn't seen that. So, but of course, that was a huge deal for Kirby, and he was like, how can I help?
That's great.
So big deal. Got tons of great response on that for Coach Safely.
We appreciate everybody tuning us in each and every week. Should be a great college football playoff. We'll be back here next week as we'll have a national championship game to get ready to talk to and talk about. For Molly, Landrum, I'm Pat. That's Coach. Have a great week. This is the Coach Bill Clark Show presented by Dr. Pepper and Buffalo Rock.
This has been the Bill Clark Show, presented by Dr. Pepper.